Season to be jelly. Everybody walks just like they're drunk. Hi there. Welcome, everyone, to Cast Iron Wednesday. This is a long running tradition that a number of foodie YouTube channels have been doing for, well, at least the past decade or so, some more than others, of course, largely because it's something fun to do. We do a cast iron video on Wednesdays and, well, enjoy ourselves. Gives me a chance to show off my collection, such as it is. And I can only thank everybody very much for coming into my home tonight and joining us here because we've been doing these Cast Iron Wednesday videos here almost every Wednesday here on this channel for little more than 4 years now. And it's been a lot of fun. And the reason why it's been so much fun has been you folks here who have been kind enough to, again, show up here on a regular basis. So I can only thank everybody so much for showing up. And thank you to everybody who's been who's here tonight. And hello to everyone. Hello to Corey Clark and to Cynthia Wesley. And hello, James 456Z. And hello, Clico and RT Scott. 55-mile-an-hour winds tonight. Ooh, sorry to hear that. I hope things are doing okay there. And hello as well to Rocket Caver and Farm Boy 762 and Greg Hart and so many others. So yes, thank you once again for being here tonight, where we are kind of like taking it easy, so to speak, and that I'm not going to be rushing around cooking tonight, but rather this is our first Wednesday of the month, and this is where I pretty much open up the YouTube Live for discussion, in that we can have a Q&A session in regards to cast iron. And I know there have been some questions going around already, even before this video started. See, William is appearing as himself tonight. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I saw on the live chat there were a couple of questions. Like, one was about how many, when Lodge and Cracker Barrel get together, one person asked, how many cast iron pans does Lodge produce for them? He gave an estimate of like maybe about 20,000 or so. And I would hazard a guess that it is nowhere near even half that much. 10,000 would probably be on the, might even be an optimistic estimate. And the reason why I say that is just because, do a little bit of math. I looked on our friend Google and asked how many Cracker Barrel restaurants are there, and Google gave an answer. There are about 654 Cracker Barrel restaurants throughout the United States. So you figure how many of those, when they do their American Series cast iron pans each year, how many of those pans does each restaurant get? Would you say 10 might be an optimistic estimate? So right there, 650 times 10 is 6,500. So even if I were to say that Lodge produced 10,000 of them for Cracker Barrel, well, maybe that's an estimate. So we're talking like these Cracker Barrel skillets, such as the few I've managed to collect. That means you've got 1 in 10,000. So technically, these are indeed collector's items, in that they produce these for Cracker Barrel every year, and with a different design, of course. This is the one from 2014. And in fact, I think it was just last year, they reproduced this American Seal skillet here in a 12-inch size. This is the 10-inch skillet. So considering that this may be 1 out of 10,000, and who knows how many have survived these past 10 years now. Yeah, I guess you could say this is a collector's item. And I certainly do. I guess I could say I'm keeping it in my collection, although I don't have any intention of selling it. Some of the Cracker Barrel skillets I have sold or given away. In fact, it was just last week or 2 weeks ago. In fact, I gave one of the Cracker Barrel skillets away on a giveaway here on this channel. And many thanks for your answer on Cracker Barrel and Lodge. Well, thank you, Buzzfork8. Yes, and How's Mom and Hogwild Cast Iron. I think I only need 2 to have them all. I didn't get this year's because they remade one. Yes, indeed. In fact, I did pick up the one from this year, which is kind of like in a moment of weakness. This was the 2024 Cracker Barrel, and this is indeed just a remake of the Lodge cast iron made in America skillet. It even has the Lodge logo on it, which is the first Cracker Barrel skillet to do that. The only difference really between this and the Made in America skillet made by Lodge is the fact that this one has a lowercase cursive font on it, and the Lodge pan does not. Does that make this a collector's item? I don't know. It's the market that tells us that more than anything else. I mean, granted, it is a very nice pan to have, that's for sure. And as I said, I picked it up in a moment of weakness this year, and I'm thinking maybe next year I might do a giveaway contest and have somebody win this. But that's next year. Some of these ones, as I said, I don't want to keep, and some I do. And Hog Wild here says he's only missing 2. Does that include the 2 that they made before the official American Heritage Series started? That was the the Statue of Liberty skillet and the original American Eagle skillet, which was based on the Lodge September 11, 2001 memorial skillet. I have one of those larger Great Seal skillets, had to get it on eBay. Well, I have no doubt at all, Rocket Caver, that I'm sure you don't regret the investment. And you probably won't regret it 10 or 20 years from now either. So, Val, she passed 9 days. Okay. Oh, and thanks for asking. Okay. Yeah, I thought they were exactly the same. No, they are not exactly the same. As I said, look on Lodge's website, or if you haven't already acquired it yet. Again, the Made in America skillet that Lodge is selling has the Made in America logo all in capital letters. I mean, yeah, that's the little type of differences that collectors look for. I mean, I certainly admit that. But even so, I already have 2 of the Made in America skillets from Lodge's own line, the one they made in 2018 and the one they made in 2020. And I have both of those for other reasons besides their being made in America. So I'm actually quite glad about that. Greg Hart. I went to Buc-ee's and the woman told me that the Lodge prices were cheaper than the Lodge store. They had a large selection. Yes, somebody commented about that. I just saw a comment about that somewhere on the internet within the last day or so as to why Walmart and Target and I guess Buc-ee's and other places can sell Lodge's pans at lower prices than what Lodge sells them for. My understanding is because it's actually meant as retail prices, in that they buy those pans from Lodge in bulk. Well, obviously they've got like a contract with them to provide the pans. So in essence, they are buying those pans from Lodge at a much lower price than what they sell in their stores. I mean, of course, they still have to make a profit on them. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't bother selling them. So Walmart, for instance, I am estimating. I don't work for Walmart. I don't know what the amount would be, but I would estimate that Walmart probably buys Walmart's pans at maybe half to 2/3 of what they sell them for in the store. That would mean these days it's about $20 for a 10-inch Lodge skillet at Walmart, which means they would be paying somewhere around the order of $10 to $15 per pan, perhaps. And Lodge, of course, I mean, obviously they produce those pans themselves, and quite frankly, Lodge doesn't have to sell them at those high prices. In fact, as you know, you can go to the Lodge factory outlet stores and get Lodge pans for much, much lower prices than that. So, for whatever reason, Lodge sets those prices for what they sell on their website. And it's like, I have bought a number of items from Lodge, but things that I really felt I couldn't get anywhere else, such as the Lodge Skull baking pan, for instance, or some of the large cast iron pans. Like for instance, oh yeah, I showed this one off already. The the Costco made Year of the Dragon skillet, for instance, that they produced this year, and they only sold this at Costco. So, I mean, there's another example, I think, of ones that Lodge made for specifically for certain retail outlets. Yeah, Ace Hardware sells Lodge, a big display. Yes, indeed, and that's the thing is that Lodge has spent the last 100 years, 125 years, in fact, putting that kind of a distribution network together so that they can produce their pans by the thousands and thousands and ship them to big box stores and small stores all across the country. And they've been spent and especially since I understand Lodge again has been doing booming business these days. Well, we can only hope that they continue to do so. But it took them a long time and a massive effort and an investment to build up that kind of a distribution system. And this is one reason why I don't know if any of the other of these smaller American cast iron companies, like Stargazer or Field or Butter Pat, no more Butter Pat, Yeti or Grizzly or Lancaster or who knows who will ever be able to produce and sell cast iron pans at that kind of rate and at that kind of a price. And that's one of the reasons why all of the other American manufacturers of new modern day cast iron have to go for the luxury market and sell their pans at exorbitant prices because that's the only way they're able to make a profit. They have to go for the luxury cookware market. Closest Cracker Barrel to me is over 30 miles away. Well, maybe something will come out that might make it worth the trip to get it. I mean, when Cracker Barrel did the Lady Liberty, the Walking Liberty $50 skillet, that was one I went out of my way to get. Not just because it's a beautiful pan. I might as well bring that one out. I mean, of all the Cracker Barrel skillets, this is one that I really went out of my way to get. And for personal reasons, as well as besides the fact that this is a wonderful design. I mean, I swear, as far as artistic value goes, I think this may be one of the most, beautiful Lodge pans I think that they may have ever made. As well as, it also appeals to coin collectors. I personally have some personal value on this as well, only because way back when I was a kid, our family was into coin collecting. And my mom told me that the Walking Liberty $50 was probably her favorite vintage coin. So yes, that is one reason why I went out of my way to get this, because of my mom. And that's another reason why this is one that I do indeed cherish. I got 2 of these, and I ended up giving one of those away in a giveaway as well. Right. So yeah, it depends. Maybe something will happen that you feel it might be worth making that 30-mile trip to Cracker Barrel. You never know. That one, the Seal and the Buffalo, are the best-looking skillets. Yeah, that's a good point, and I'll bring that one out too. I had to get the Buffalo nickel skillet when that came out. This is the only one of the Cracker Barrel skillets that Lodge started producing on their own after it initially sold out. It was in 2014, I think. Yeah, I think this was 2014. The Great Seal skillet was 2015. They produced it for Cracker Barrel, and then they started producing it on their own. And my understanding is they are still producing it today. One reason why, of course, is because, using the design of a coin from the United States government, as you know, items produced by the United States government are not copyrighted. So Lodge can make this thing and not have to pay royalties or anything to the United States government. And it is a very nice looking pan too. And this one is still today. And hey, here we are in Christmas season. So, folks considering, no, not me. Let me say it right now, I do not want anyone, and I mean anyone, to get me cast iron for Christmas. I have no need for it, and I'm being completely serious. But consider family, friends, who knows what. Things like this, of course, would make an excellent Christmas present. All right, let me hang this one up here. And it's really because of, because you folks here on this channel are so, well, generous and kind that I've ended up receiving several cast iron pans as gifts, which I never asked for. And I'm very, very grateful to everyone who did that. But I'm completely serious. Please do not send me cast iron for Christmas. Send cast iron. If you want to give cast iron to someone else, give it to someone close to you, family, friends, whatever. I don't need any more. Give it to someone close to you who'll appreciate it. Okay? All right. Anyway, I had to get that buffalo one. My relatives live on the Philmont Scout Ranch with the buffalo, aka bison. Well, there's a good reason for you, Bets. That's for sure. Yeah. William, what about been on for a while? Okay. Anyway, we'll send pictures of our irons. Yeah. My feed is defunct. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, William. I guess having some trouble. I hope not. I wish they would make a skillet that looks like a Saint Gaudens coin. Me too, Hogwild. I actually posted a request for that on the so-called official Lodge Cast Iron Facebook group. They've got their own Facebook group where people can post stuff. And I understand that they've taken notice of it, but there's not been any sign that they're going to produce any more coin skillets. Yeah, because I remember from my coin collecting days, we're talking like the late 70s, mind you. The St. Gaudens coin, those, of course, were the gold, the $20 and I think $10 gold pieces, the very famous, and the double eagle skillet. $20 gold piece. And yeah, I know the history of that coin and especially the 1933 one. But yeah, that is a wonderful design. And I would love to see a cast iron pan in that design as well. The other one I would really go out of my way to get would be a cast iron pan in the shape of the 1804 silver dollar. Hey, don't take any cast iron nickels. Well, hey, the buffalo nickel skillet is still nice too. So yeah, can't deny that. Greg Hart, when you first started collecting, did you ever think you would be at the point where you were begging not to get any more? No, definitely not. I started collecting, well, with my very first cast iron pan. And in fact, quite a few of my early cast iron pans were in fact gifts. But it was really, I mean, at first I was getting pans especially to be users, and I'm still trying to do that. How many times have I said here on this channel, I want all of my cast iron pans to be users? And yet every once in a while, yeah, I've succumbed to temptation. But as mentioned, my very first cast iron pan here was in fact a gift. It was a wedding present, in fact. And this was given in 2000. Oh man, have I forgotten the year? No, I haven't. 2002. And yeah, as you can see, we had a lot of trouble figuring out where the guy got this when he gave it to us. And I've told the story of this particular pan before. This pan sat on in the back of a shelf in the kitchen for 8 years, and it became orange with rust because we didn't do anything about it until my life changed in 2010. And I cooked, oh yeah, in fact, my cast iron anniversary, the 15th, that's next week. Yeah, anyway, I cooked a steak in this very pan for the first time, and I turned that steak into a piece of leather. I've told that story before. I did a terrible job cooking that steak, but I had a lot of fun cooking that steak in this pan. And that was when I caught the bug and I was hooked. So yes, as far as gifts go, no, I certainly was not expecting to reach this point. But the reason why I'm at this point is because I'm a single guy with a job who living by myself, and I have nobody here who can tell me, no, you can't buy that. So it's up to me to really try to keep myself from becoming a hoarder and just letting this collection get out of control. Because this collection is still under control. And even though I find it is still growing at a very, very slow pace, I'm still doing everything I can to keep it under control. Oh yeah, happy birthday. Well, that was last month, but thank you very much, Corey Clark. Yeah. I guess I might as well show that one off too. I think I showed this one already. Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, okay, try that again. No, it didn't break. Okay. Anyway, and I hope it didn't kill the mic either. Okay, don't forget the show. Okay, yeah. Anyway, this was the pan that was given to me for my birthday. It is engraved, so it's an Asian-made 5.5-inch cast iron skillet. But I definitely intend to make a very special cookie with this. Oh, I can't believe I dropped that. And okay, I saw that. Don't forget to show the new Wagner griddle. Yes, Rocket Caver. Yes, I was there on Mud's live last night when he was talking all about the new Wagner griddle. And so here it is. Let me move my mic a little bit closer. Okay, yeah, here is what he was talking about last night. The new Wagner griddle that they are selling on their own website for $240 because they emailed me out of the blue and offered to send me one to a review, and I did. And so, yes, as a result, I am now the owner, I guess you could say proud owner, of a new modern Wagner cast iron griddle. And there were indeed questions about this griddle, and I'd be more than happy to answer those questions if you want. For starters, the surface is smooth. It is smoother than a large skillet. There's no question about that. Anybody who cooks on this will not feel any kind of a rough surface. On the other hand, this surface is not polished. It's definitely not polished to glass smooth like we see with a number of the modern day deluxe cast iron makers. So there's that. Other than that, they try to make this an exact replica of the original Wagner ware skillet. I'm sorry, griddle. Even with the Sydney logo. Even though this is not made in Sydney, Ohio. There is one difference, though, that will prevent people from selling this as the real thing, and that would be the date mark that is here underneath this handle here. As you can see, it's got a date mark, and somebody pointed out it says here 50 and 23. And my understanding is 2023 is the year it was manufactured, and I think 50, I believe it's like a 50th anniversary or something like that. I actually forget the details. Okay. Anyway, that's a look at the new Wagner griddle. Let me see here. Single myself, the cats and the cobwebs never asked me where the money went. You can use cast iron and drive. Yeah, exactly. Looks fine to me, but too much money. Yeah, that's the thing that everybody is talking about. The fact that they are selling this thing for $240. I did explain a few minutes ago that the new modern cast iron makers do have to go for the luxury market because that's the only way they can make a profit. You know, they have stockholders that they need to pacify. I would think that any company, any startup company like that these days would offer stock. You know, so they have investors. And they have to, again, they have to compensate their investors, and they have to do it very quickly. And that's why they have to, there is no choice but for them to go to the luxury market. Simply because the entire economy, our entire society has changed from what it was 100 years ago. So, I mean, that's why Lodge has been around for 125 years, building up its distribution network. That's why they can do things the old-fashioned way. The new modern cast iron companies simply can't. And that includes Wagner as well. And so as a result, they have no choice but to sell this Wagner griddle for $240. And I know Mudd was saying that he thinks that it's not going, their company is not going to survive for precisely that reason. He may indeed have a point. I'm not going to disagree with that. They sent me this thing for free, yes, but that I am not going to just whitewash the company. I'm not just going to be a company mouthpiece saying nothing but good things about Wagner cast iron and about how wonderful they are. And I'm so grateful for this for this wonderful cast iron pan. Actually, I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to keep this thing. So, okay. You just as well might as well say made in China because that's all it means to me. Well, yeah, that's one other thing though. The representative of Wagner, who has been in touch with email with myself, with Mudd, and with other folks, they still have not said who made this pan. My understanding is there is a statement on their website, it is made in the USA, but we don't know who made it. It seems very likely that they did not actually rebuild their own foundry. It's definitely not the Wagner foundry. The Wagner foundry was torn down. The abandoned Wagner foundry was torn down just last year. I understand there's some guesses that Lancaster Cast Iron might be the company that made this for them, but I have not contacted them to confirm that, and I'm not sure if anyone else has. Lancaster Cast Iron is, of course, located in Pennsylvania, within driving distance of me, and Wagner's new offices are in Philadelphia, so that's not far from Lancaster either. So maybe, but it's only a guess because I don't know who did it. Maybe one of these days we will find out. If they had it at even 150, it would sell a lot more and would make it more successful. I hope they do make it and put out a few more pieces. Yeah, I'm wondering, and again, I have nothing at all to back up this theory, but what if this new Wagner cast iron is some kind of a tax write-off or loss leader for something? In that the company doesn't even have to make a profit in that way. That's the funny way that that they do that with these with these kind of things. Not they in particular, but how big companies do that. They actually set up a puppet company, especially as some kind of a tax write-off, and it doesn't even matter if they make a profit. I'm guessing though, because it does seem odd that they would produce this and sell this at this high price. And have we seen any marketing from them? Well, there is some. I mean, we have learned about them, but I mean, have we seen anything in the news? Have we seen any of the specialty stores like Sur La Table or Williams Sonoma or anything doing that? I mean, Williams Sonoma, for instance, they sell Finex cast iron. I think Sur La Table sells something too. You understand what I'm talking about? That I mean, those other the other companies like Field and Stargazer and all that, they have to make a profit somehow. Butter Pat was bought out by Yeti, and so now they're producing their cast iron for Yeti, which means, of course, that Yeti has to make a profit, and they're part of it. If Yeti goes, so does Yeti cast iron. On the other hand, that did give them a reason to lower the price of that $400 cast iron skillet to $250. Okay. Maybe they're hoping to be bought out, but like Butter Pat, that is entirely possible. I mean, it's a business move, and whether or not you may consider it to be ethical, there are worse things to do. I mean, they're not lying to us, I'll say that much. They did indeed produce the product that they said that they would produce. This is a genuine and it is very attractive cast iron griddle. There's no denying that. So you might be right. What if some other company decided to buy them up and then they would be able to produce Wagner cast iron? Maybe. All right. Anyway, it's cold here. What's happening? Going in hibernation. Yeah. Okay, so you've got a good point there, Hog Wild. Who knows? All we can do is watch and see. And as I said, I don't know. Maybe at some point I might even do a giveaway and give away this Wagner griddle, perhaps. No, not next week. We've got too many things going on between now and Christmas, I'm afraid. So, I don't know. Maybe after the new year, perhaps. Okay, I've got premium YouTube, no ads. Well, congratulations, M. Morris family. What one cast iron in your collection has the highest dollar value? Ooh, that's hard to say because I'm very proud of my collection. I don't have many incredibly rare items. The one I'd say, if anything, would be my 15-gallon cauldron. You folks have seen that. It's over here. The savory cauldron. Beyond that, who knows? I do have a number 10 Griswold, which was also one of my first cast iron acquisitions. And I know Griswold prices have been going sky high, so maybe this might be considered to be valuable, perhaps. As you can see, as much as I enjoy using this, and this is a very nice cast iron pan. This is not one of those things that say, "Oh, this is so dear to my heart. I'm going to treasure this forever." I have no intention of selling it or giving it away, but I would not consider this Griswold number 10 to be, as I said, one of my all-time favorite cast iron pans. But then I'm strange like that. So, like for instance, I was very, very excited this year to score this large rope-handled lid complete with the ARC logo. And that was on my trip to the National Cornbread Festival. So while this may consider to be valuable as well, it is, of course, not exactly something that people are going to break into my house and steal. On the other hand, I'm definitely going to consider this a very valuable and treasured piece of my collection. Probably more so than the Griswold, in fact. Looking over my pieces, it's hard to say what could be really valuable like that. I mean, I do have the large Sportsman grill that Sportsman deep fryer rather, that they produced in the early 2000s. Beyond that, I'm not sure what I have that could be considered exceptionally valuable. Valuable to me, on the other hand, that's a different story. Jim F., I'm thinking of getting a Christmas present for myself. What do you think the best new cast iron would be good to get? It depends on your taste. I can't really judge that for you, largely because just about every cast iron is really excellent in the kitchen. I mean, whether it's Asian made or whether it's this Wagner griddle or whether it's this Stargazer skillet or a good old Lodge cast iron skillet, they're all great in the kitchen. So there has to be something else that would really make it appeal to you. And it's hard to say what. For instance, The Stargazer, which was another one that they sent to me for a review, I am very glad to own this, only because I like the design. I mean, the little star on it, has let's say a little bit of personal meaning to me as well. So in a way, I kind of am a little bit biased for that particular reason. But then that appeals to me. That doesn't necessarily mean it would appeal to you. Maybe you might like a field skillet, for instance, because as far as the elite cast iron goes, this is one of the, well, they're all expensive, but this one is one of the lower cost, and it's got a design very similar to a vintage cast iron skillet. And I personally feel that Field probably designed their cast iron in particular, especially in the style of the vintage Griswold pans. I'm thinking that they really tried to make this both practical and modern while still trying to stick to the design of a vintage skillet. So maybe you might want a field skillet for that reason, perhaps. And I'm sorry to say, but it's up to you. Maybe you might want to invest in the new USA enamel cast iron that Lodge is producing now in their brand new enamelware foundry, because it's made in America. And maybe that might appeal to you more than, say, a stove or a Le Creuset pan. I don't know. This is honestly up to you. I'm not trying to cop out, but uh, that's really something I don't think I can decide for you. I mean, I really like all of these new pans that I have. The Stargazer, the Field, the Butter Patch that again was sent to me as a gift. These are all wonderful pans, and I'm very glad to own all of them. And I'm going to be hard pressed to say anything bad really about any of them, just because I like them. They are all good cast iron pans. So I'm not really. I mean, a couple of times I've done comparisons between, say, the Stargazer and the Field, or a comparison between a Stargazer and a vintage BSNR. And I really ended up with, most of the time, it's a tie. It's like I couldn't say that one was really any better than the other. How about a bottle of Speyside Scotch? Well, that would be an interesting present, that's for sure. The Lancaster is nearly an exact copy of a 1920s, I think that's Wagner. Well, that's actually interesting too. Manufacturing date on Stargazer is pretty cool to me. Enamel pans are nice too, yes. It's a tie between Cynthia Wesley. It's between my Lodge and BSR Century. I do a lot of heavyweight cooking for animals. Well, there you go. I love BSNR as well. I mean, I've made no secret that it's probably my favorite vintage cast iron brand. And I'm really glad to have several pieces in my collection. That's a rare piece. I have a Lancaster number 4. Well, there you go. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Well, I hope it helps in some way. Phew. Okay. Let me see if I've missed anything, because this is supposed to be a Q&A session, even though I'm really enjoying this little discussion here that we are having. I've tested Hogwild. I've tested nearly every new brand. Lancaster is number 1. Field and Stargazer are close second. You're thinking skillet or cake pan? I subscribe to Premium and haven't seen commercials other than those promoted by creators. Oh, okay. I read that YouTube Premium has started showing commercials. Oh, I see. That's why you're asking that. I've already answered which one has the highest dollar value. Or maybe they're hoping to be bought out by Butterpad. Yes, exactly. Okay, my Century over my Red Mountain. Okay. Yeah, I mean, a lot of us like the Red Mountain pans. I think partly because of their history, just because they're older, and in some ways they're manufactured more smooth than some of the Red Mountain pans, perhaps. But I really think might be the history, really, more than anything else. In that, I am really glad to own several Red Mountain pans myself, and yet at the same time, I have several Century pans that I'm very, very proud of using. I mean, like, for instance, good old Stumpy, my number 14 BSNR Century. A couple of years ago, I acquired what I think was a Red Mountain number 14. And I compared the two, and I ended up giving away the Red Mountain, and I kept Old Stumpy. So who knows? Everyone here has a go-to pan. Mine is a number 7 Griswold Erie, and that's a good one to have too, Val. Yeah, I've never heard that, and as far as I know, they're still making them. My hand-scribed BSNR Red Mountain skillets are hard to beat. Yes, they are. I have, in fact, talked about this one and showed this one off a few times. And I am talking about this pan that I call Lightning, which is in fact a hand-scribed BSNR number 7. And of course, I call this pan Lightning for two reasons. Number one, it has these sand shift lines in it, as you can see, which are not cracks, but they do look like bolts of lightning. And so that was one reason why I call this Lightning. The other reason is this pan in particular, I don't know why, or maybe I'm imagining it. This pan seems to cook food like lightning. I've made steaks, sausages, hot dogs, gravy, cornbread. It just cooks the hell out of those things. And so I really feel that this particular pan has earned the name Lightning in my collection. And this is indeed one of my go-to kitchen skillets for that reason. All right. That's a very light pan, Val. Yes. I never heard that. As far as I know, they're still making them. Oh, okay. BSNR Red Mountain skillets are hard to find. Let me check that. Whoops. Goofed here. Do that again. All right. My hand scribe BSR. Oh, hard to beat, not hard to find. Yes, they are. When seasoning okay, N Coyote 102. When seasoning cast iron, will Crisco get you a black finish quicker than grapeseed, avocado oil, and other oils? I have not used grapeseed, but I have used Crisco on a lot of my pans. For the longest time, I was using Crisbee cast iron seasoning, which is a combination of Crisco, beeswax, and I think there's a little bit of shortening in there as well. And it did a great job getting my pans good and black, but I ran out of it. And so really for like the last couple of years or so, I have been almost exclusively seasoning my pans with Crisco. And I think they have done a pretty good job. For instance, here's one that I just acquired this year, the Brimfield Antique Show, BSNR Century, number 6. And as you can see, certainly has a nice color to it. It's got a nice black color to it. So it doesn't have that bronze color. And there's nothing wrong with that bronze color, by the way. If your pan turns out having a bronze color, just use it a few times and it will turn black. But yeah, as you can see, again, I've seasoned this one here with Crisco, and I really, really like the look of it. I also like the feel of this. It's got a nice, almost glass smooth surface, and it's a good size too, a number 6. This, for instance, is the right size for making pies. So that's a good reason to own a number 6 right there. All right, let me just put this down for the moment. Mark Sieber. Hey guys, I have a buddy that bought a Griswold Spider in decent, not great shape, small crack. Could cook in it. Any thoughts on the value? When you're saying Griswold Spider, I'm presuming you're meaning like a spider skillet with legs? I don't think I've ever seen a Griswold Spider. Or are you actually talking about the incredibly rare Erie Spider? Which is pretty much like the holy grail of cast iron collectors. If it has a small crack in it, I would say it's really only good for the collector's value. I do not trust cracked pans. I know there are people who do use their cracked skillets as baking pans, and more power to you. It's just that inevitably one of these days that cracked pan is going to break. So if I had a cracked pan, I would not want to cook with it. Some I might want to keep as a collector's item, perhaps. Do I have any in my collection like that? Right now, I don't think I do. I have a couple of gate marked skillets that were cracked, and I actually took the time to have them welded. Rocket Caver, I resisted for years. I'm sorely with no ads. Oh, I see. Radagast, my newest acquisition is a 7C BSNR. I paid $9 for, and I love it for cornbread. Well, congratulations. Yeah, you can still get good deals on cast iron if you're patient and you look for them. You never know when they're going to show up. Hogwild, all of mine turned out bronze because I do a quick vinegar bath to remove rust. Well, that's certainly possible, yes. I've had a number of my pans turn out with that bronze color too, all the way from modern day large skillets all the way back to gate marked pans. I've heard a couple of people say only the modern day pans get the bronze color, and that is not true. I distinctly remember one gate marked griddle that I seasoned for friends, and it definitely came out with the bronze color. So any pan really could end up that way. But I'll say again, there's nothing at all wrong with the bronze color. You don't need to strip it and start over. You don't need to throw it out. Just cook with it a little while and it will turn black. All right. Question, Fuzzfork 8. When you made skillet hangers out of chain, do you remember what the length was? Let me get one of them. Here. And okay. Well, obviously it's not the length of chain it matters. You are talking about the length of the link, I guess. Do I have a ruler right here on me? If you'll be kind enough to hold on, let me dig up a ruler. All right. Yeah, all I did was just that. I got a length of chain and I got some heavy duty wire snips, and I simply just that. I cut the links so that I would be able to use them to hang skillets. And it looks like this is in fact just about maybe 1 1/8 inches in length. So I hope that helps. And I got it cheap. I got the chain, if I remember right, at like Lowe's or something like that. I didn't go out of my way to get anything really expensive. And well, they work nicely. So I hope that helps. Let me hang this back up. And let me get the pan that was hanging on. Might as well show this off too. The Lodge Cast Iron Museum skillet, which they are only selling at their Lodge Cast Iron Museum. They're not selling this on their website. So maybe this might be a collector's item when it sells out. Perhaps. This is another one of those that I have no intention of selling, though. All right. Let me put this back. That Museum of Cast Iron Skillet, for a record, is actually a Lodge number 6 pan. Hogwild, the funniest BSR I have is I call my 7 Oops 8 skillet. You can see they put in a 7, then wrote it over with an 8. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the 8B skillet. I'm betting, which they did indeed do that with quite a few of their pans in the later 1970s. It must have been when they were transitioning, in that they renamed the number 7 to the number 8, especially so that it would fit the lids, especially glass lids of their competitors. I tend to like all my brands of sevens better than their number sixes. Yeah. Well, number six is an unusual size anyway. All right. Those are some very long chain links. I cut mine and gave them a 90-degree twist. Well, that's one way to do it too. You probably have better tools than I do anyway. I am a complete amateur at that, and I really had no idea what I was doing, but it worked. So, yeah, but like I said, I just bought those things at, I'm pretty sure it was Home Depot, and they are not hard to get at all. All right. Okay, the 99 is my favorite piece, and I don't like paying. Yeah. Oh, free 99. That's what you're talking about. Free 99. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and every once in a while you can end up getting a cast iron pan for free, hopefully legally. But it happens. I mean, junk piles sometimes, or my neighbor or your neighbor might say, I've got this rusty old pan in the basement. You want it? Or your family members might get you something and say, hey, I found a cast iron pan for you. Or who knows? It every so often it happens. It's happened to me a few times. Rare, but I got them sixes, just rather their sevens. Val's Black Cat rules. I was to a specialty store that had a ton of lodge, and all they had were glass lids. Yeah, that's well. I would guess that they probably chose the glass lids because they would be more likely to sell. Because they're less expensive than the iron lids, and well, they don't rust. So there is that consideration as well. Glass lids are, I mean, of course, you can get glass lids anywhere, even at like Salvation Army, for instance. Hmm. And I don't like S hooks, says Fuzz Fork. Yeah, yes. Well, as you can see, that's all I did. Did take a little bit of effort, but I feel it was worth it. All right. The seven oops is a red mountain that had a seven, and then they hand scribed an eight over it. Oh, really? And now that you're saying that, I think I remember now you did post a picture of that too. So, well, then there you go. You got yourself a nice little piece. I have no idea if that would increase its collector's value or not, but it's definitely something nice to own. I love having pans of that kind, unique pans. And because I've been at this for so long, and I've dedicated so much of myself to it, I've managed to end up with a few unique pieces of cast iron. Not quite as unique as that one, but a few unique ones. Because again, the butter pat. I mean, now that they've discontinued butter pat, that means I now own a piece of discontinued cast iron. Maybe a collector's item, but again, I have no intention of selling it. And then there is my 30 centimeter Osfonte, the Australia made cast iron griddle that was sent to me as a Christmas present, in fact, in 2015, which was a couple of years before. What's the name of the company? Solid Technics. Yes, the Solid Technics cast iron pan that was sent to me about 2 years before they discontinued their cast iron production. So I've got a very attractive and now unique piece of cast iron, and that's only because I was lucky. So if I'm bragging, it's only because I'm bragging that I happen to be lucky in that case. All right, number 9 on my wish list. I bought one glass lodge lid to go with one of my kettles. Works great. Hate glass lids. Gravity works too well for me. Yeah, I know the feeling. I actually got a rare Wagner glass lid and gave that as a Christmas present to one of my friends. It unfortunately lasted maybe about 6 months before they dropped it and broke it. So, oh well, it happens. Iron lids are like hen's teeth by me. Well, there is that too. And that's why one of the running rules in collecting cast iron is that if you can, always try to snatch up a stray lid, even if you have nothing to fit it. because eventually you'll end up finding a use for it. I mean, it was pretty much that rule that inspired me to pick up this, which is rare, this new idea lid. This very fancy design of this lid. I only have the lid. I do not have the bottom to go with it, whether it's a Dutch oven or a skillet. And I have decided that that if I ever find it, I'm going to find it, on the treasure hunt, and I'm not going to pay through the nose for it, because they are selling these new idea pans just about every day on eBay, usually for around $300. And I am not going to go out of my way and spend $300 just to have a piece that matches this lid. So if I'm lucky enough to find it, then that's good. New idea is interesting as well, because for a long time, people thought that this was made in England, and they thought it was made in England in the late 19th century. But there has been some evidence that's come to light recently. We're talking like maybe advertising pieces, or in ads in old newspapers and the like, that suggest that this was actually made in Chicago, maybe by Chicago Hardware Foundry, in fact. So, but yeah, these new idea pans, they are indeed very attractive, aren't they? The first time I saw one of these, I immediately thought it looked like an Art Deco pan, because I would have to say these angles definitely do remind me of the Art Deco design. And who knows, maybe I'll get lucky and find a skillet or Dutch oven from New Idea. Let me get this back here. Okay, how did I get this thing in anyway? Oh, that's how. Come on. There we go. Got it. All right. In Coyote 102, on one of your videos, you mentioned getting your godson a large cast iron skillet with his birth year. That gave me an idea to get one for my son off of eBay. Just wanted to say thank you very much. Well, I'm very glad you liked it. And yeah, I would say that's certainly a present that's going to last him the rest of his life. And as for which pan that was, it was the 2018 Lodge Made in America skillet, which I definitely had to get for both of those reasons. One is this was the first year that Lodge produced these Made in America pans with the year on them, and it turned out they only produced them for 3 years. But that was a stroke of luck. But yes, my godson was indeed born in 2018. And that's when I had the idea of getting one and giving it to him as a present. Well, when he was born. So hopefully he will always have that pan for the rest of his life. All right. Corey Clark, I found another BSR Century fish fryer lid, and it was labeled griddle. They didn't know it was a lid. Both of my lids have never been seasoned. Well, don't some of those fish fryer lids actually have an inscription on them saying cover griddle? Maybe the seller might have thought that he would have been more likely to sell it if he called it a griddle, because, well, just that, lids. It would be much more likely that someone would be willing to buy a griddle that they can use rather than buying a lid for an extremely rare piece of cast iron. Obviously they want to sell it, so they will do whatever they can to sell it. At least that's my thought. Both of my lids have never been seasoned. Okay. Oh, I see. You mean you bought they were likely brand new out of the factory, in fact. Well, in that case, congratulations on that, Corey Clark. So does my number 9 lid must be from the 1920s, hopefully. I have that lid on both of my BSR fish fryers, shallow and deep. The only fish fryer lid I found was nearly $200. Yeah, I was lucky enough. I know I keep saying that I was lucky, but, well, I've had some good luck in this hobby. I do indeed have the Lodge Sportsman fish fryer. And since I've said it twice now, I guess I better get that one out too. All right, here we go. Well, first of all, here's the Red Mountain Sportsman Fish Fryer, which is one of my most used kitchen items. These things are massively useful. And if you have a chance to get an oval fryer like this, get it. It is extremely useful. Anyway, bring this out right now. Here's the cover, at least. The actual fish fryer is still right there. But yeah, here it is. The Lodge Sportsman Fish Fryer. Well, this is the griddle cover for it, at least. I understand it was in several models. This one happens to have the grill pan on the bottom. And I was lucky in that when I came across this on eBay, yeah, eBay again, the guy was selling this as a Griswold. And I contacted him and told him that that's not a Griswold, that's a Lodge. And because of that, he let me buy it for a substantial discount from what he was selling it for. And that's one reason why I ended up with this. And I've definitely gotten a lot of use out of this too, because the deep fryer, especially with this lid, is an outstanding Dutch oven with a whole lot of room in it. All right, and that is over here. So now that I've done that, here's the other part. And here is the actual fish fryer, which is, by the way, an excellent chicken fryer too. I mean, it's a huge amount of space here. You can fry up to at least 8 pieces of chicken at a time in this thing. So this is really, really great for frying chicken. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to send you a pic of it, William. Okay, I have a shallow oval. Makes a great pizza pan. Yes, it does. Let me get this one out again. The BS&R Sportsman Oval Fish Fryer. I was lucky enough to get the original one, the Red Mountain series. This one does indeed have the Sportsman logo crudely inscribed underneath, but that was done at the factory. And yeah, I have gotten a ton of use out of this. This thing, like you said, you can make pizzas in this. I've made sheet cakes in this, and it's done a great job. And of course, it is also a wonderful griddle that sits over 2 burners. So if you want to make huge amounts of gravy in this, which I've done, I've filled this thing with macaroni and cheese, as well as cooked huge amounts of bacon and eggs and breakfast in this. This is, as I said, this is essentially an oversized griddle. No, an oversized skillet. And so as a result, I highly recommend that if you have the chance to grab something like this, a shallow oval fryer like this, do it. You will get an enormous amount of use out of this. And this is indeed one of my go-to kitchen items. Highly recommend it. And yes, that includes Asian made as well. I mean, I know a lot of folks shy away from Asian made cast iron, and I don't have too many Asian pieces in my collection either, but I do have some. Really, it's really your preference, of course. I mean, if you just want to get it as a kitchen user, and if you find it available and cheap, then you might want to consider getting it. All right, looks like you're getting a great workout tonight. Yes, exactly, and I certainly need that too. Who won the cast iron? It was Fuzzfork 8 who won that cast iron skillet a couple of weeks ago, in fact. So he's here, or he was here earlier. You can ask him about that. You still have Canadian cast iron? Do you use it much? Yes, I do have Canadian cast iron. I don't use it much, only because I have got so many number 8 skillets in my collection. It's like I really have to go out of my way to use this. And this is a really nice piece too, you know? Maybe I should end up doing a giveaway for this perhaps. And this is indeed the Eaton, the Eaton company. This is a Canadian-made skillet. And I found this at a flea market in a bin full of Taiwan-made saucepans. But on the other hand, it has a size number on the handle that looks exactly like a Griswold, a block logo number 8. And when I first saw this, I thought it was a Griswold, in fact. However, it was quickly pointed out to me that this is, in fact, a Canadian-made skillet. I have no complaints about this. But on the other hand, I have not been using this as much as I should. Well, maybe next week. I think that's about the best I can say. I'm trying to rotate through my collection. For some pans, it seems to be easier than others. Can you see the little letters underneath? Oh, okay. That's a cool pan. You should rotate the iron to use them all. I'm doing my best. I mean, I get a lot of use out of some of these pans, like my poiki pot, my little cauldron, as you know. And I make a lot of use out of my BS&R skillets, my Red Mountain skillets. But yes, I definitely do need to get some more use out of this Canadian-made pan too. That's for sure. Now this one is this one is the BS&R number 6. I'm already starting to lose track of this. I've got a mess to put away tonight. That's for sure. So you should do a video on identifying something. G? Okay, because yeah, I mean, maybe I should actually do an updated video to my 11-year-old video on identifying old cast iron, because I made a lot of mistakes in that video, mistakes that I've been spending time to correct, including the fact that I mistakenly and incorrectly said that a law had been passed in the year 1960 requiring manufacturers to put a Made in USA mark on their pans. And that is not true. And I've long since learned that that's not true. So on the other hand, I did indeed put out a video correcting that. If you look on my channel and you look especially for Made in the USA cast iron pans, that is an updated video where I do my best to accurately describe Made in USA mark, the Made in USA mark on cast iron pans. Identifying pans based on handle and type of lettering. You know, that's certainly a possibility. That might work. Fuzzy loves the United We Stand skillet. It is posted on my YouTube channel. Oh, well, congratulations then, and I'm glad you like it, Fuzzy. So so thank you very much. I'm glad to have been able to send it to you. Amazing how they made so many different marks on cast iron. Well, yeah, I mean, what can you say? It's like there are many different manufacturers that have been making cast iron over at least the past 200 to 300 years here in the United States. So there's a lot of variety, driven by the market, driven by the designers of the pans, driven by necessity and convenience, which is why, for instance, modern day pans have a more rough surface than vintage pans. Any number of factors here that all contribute to an enormous variety here in cast iron. And that I've found is one of the things that fascinates me so much about cast iron, and why I'm still obsessed with it and why I enjoy it so much. There are so many aspects to this hobby here. Besides the fact that, number one, it's all because I learned how to cook, and I just got this love for cooking that I hope never ever leaves me. But also, I mean, cooking in cast iron in particular. And then, of course, as we've said enough times, there's the history and the mystery of cast iron. All of that is there's just so much to it. It's like almost like this magical feeling of cooking in a piece of vintage cast iron, cooking in something that, even though it's like 100 years old or more, it still cooks great, and it cooks as good as the day it was made. So That is really something to have an antique that's definitely going to last the rest of your life or my life. Clico, that video ID is how I found your channel. Yeah, and you know that ID, that video on identifying cast iron pans is still my #1 watched video. I check the analytics on my channel, and it is always, every single week, it is always there. If not at #1, it's maybe #2 or #3. That is still my #1 most popular video on my channel, and I'm very, very grateful to folks who have been kind enough to enjoy it and get some use out of it. I've noticed I keep going to my BSNR chef and BSNR enameled most of the time. My Eries and Sydney sneak in, but hard to beat the BSNR chef. Yes, there is that. So, yeah, it's like we all have our own personal preferences. And what else does Clico say? Like the Christmas video opening the Finex. Oh yeah, that I'll never forget that moment. Not just because I have it on video, but that was a one instance where, again, I was really, really fortunate to have been gifted my Finex cast iron skillet as a Christmas present. In fact, this Christmas is the 10th anniversary. It was 10 years ago on Christmas that I was gifted this Finex cast iron skillet. And you know, it took me several years to get a good coating of seasoning on this. That's the thing. This indeed did have a glass smooth surface, and the seasoning just had a real difficulty sticking to it. It took a long time and several re-seasonings before I was able to get a decent seasoning on this Finex cast iron skillet. Some people may consider that a disadvantage, especially for the fact that these pans cost $200 or more. But like I said, I was lucky enough to receive it as a gift. So that makes it special. That also made it worth the effort for me to keep using it. And I am very glad to have used it because this is an extremely thick and heavy cast iron pan. And this is my go-to steak cooking pan. And it probably always will be for that reason. Oops, I put this in backwards. It was Jeff Rogers who sent the Finex skillet to me as a present. However, I had to go out of my way and I got the Finex lid separately because, well, I felt it needed a lid to go with it. So, and all that was 10 years ago. So I'm still very thankful and grateful to Jeff Rogers for that wonderful present. All right. I got a 2016 Let Freedom Ring skillet, you know, Liberty Bell. That was a Cracker Barrel skillet, in fact. That was the 2016 Cracker Barrel skillet fuzz fork. And yeah, if you like it, I mean, then I'm glad you do. You know, I got that skillet in that time, and I finally decided it really wasn't enough to keep it, and I ended up getting rid of it. I forget if I sold it or what, but I have not had that skillet probably since at least 2017. And frankly, I don't regret it. I mean, I know, Hogwild, you said you were doing your best to make a complete collection of all of the Cracker Barrel skillets, and that will certainly pay off in the long run. I've got this feeling, I have no proof, but I've got this feeling that Cracker Barrel is going to discontinue those American Heritage skillets sometime soon because they are not making the effort anymore to produce a really unique cast iron pan anymore. They haven't done so for the last 2 years, and that makes me suspicious that they might discontinue their series. So if you collect the whole series, you've got yourself a real collector's item there. All right. New video on identifying cast iron. Yes, exactly. How does Finex cook? Finex cooks wonderful. As I said, the Finex pan is my go-to steak cooking pan because it's extremely thick and heavy. And so it does a great job holding in heat. much more so than a lighter, thinner cast iron pan. So that thing is a real beauty for cooking steaks or searing. I mean, I don't think I have a better pan in my collection for that. On the other hand, let me say one other thing. The difference between the Finex pan and a typical Lodge cast iron skillet. Lodge cast iron skillets are excellent also for searing steaks. Anybody who's made a steak will know that. I would say the difference between a Lodge pan and a Finex pan is the difference between excellent for the Lodge pan and outstanding for the Finex pan. There's a slight difference, and would it be worth paying $200 for that slight difference? Hard to say. I never would have bought a Finex pan myself, but it was gifted to me, and so that makes it very, very special. All right. The Finex lid makes it a great multitasker. Yes, exactly. Can steam or offset to vent. Jim Nurse Val called the Southern Connection, Nurse Goodbody, and Dr. Feelgood. Sounds like a Motley Crue song. All right. Oh, by the way, Val, early before the chat started, you asked if anybody used silicone handles, like this one, for instance. This was my first silicone handle, and this came, in fact, with the Lodge Year of the Dragon skillet. It actually came with it, and it has the Lodge logo and the little egg on it and everything like that. And I'm not so sure I'm this fond of it, largely because silicone is slippery, and it doesn't make me feel secure. So I have gotten a lot more use out of this leather handle cover that came with the field skillet last year. In fact, I have really been put this thing through a lot of use. The end of this is pretty burned, in fact. So, but given a choice, I'm not sure I would recommend a silicone handle cover for that reason. I don't like the feel of it. I feel it's too slippery, even though on the inside, as you can see, if you could see it, it's ribbed. It's not smooth on the inside. I'm thinking especially so that it can grip the handle of a cast iron pan. But I'm not sure I would recommend a silicone handle for that reason. Even though I have indeed burned this leather handle cover, I really like it, and I'm gonna keep using it until it probably falls apart. All right. Leather is amazing. Yes, I'm a sucker for videos making Finex and Le Creuset. I love that many hands created them. I have 2 of those Lodge handle covers. I'm not a fan. Yes, exactly, Radagast. I would think it might be for the same reasons, perhaps. Wonder if it will get gummy. I use mine rarely. You never know, Cynthia. I agree on the scare of silicone sloppiness. I use the pot holders, but I make sure to be very careful. I'd rather use my leather welding gloves. Yes, exactly. Several years ago, I went and got a pair of leather welding gloves, especially for that reason. They sell those things cheap at Harbor Freight Tools. I'm talking about leather welding gloves. But as you know, they're not so great. They're good enough to use once in a while, but if you use them regularly, they're going to burn through pretty quickly and end up burning your hands. Yes, I'm speaking from experience. All right. Spend the money on the baseball handle mitts from Lodge. I have 2 and they never leave my stove. Oh, well, that's good to hear. I'm sure there are a number of really good handle covers out there, and it might indeed be worth the investment to get at least one. I have a few. Some of my others are made of cloth, but I keep going to this leather one again and again. Oh, oops, slippiness. Well, yeah, that's the same idea there. Whew. Boy, we're already an hour and 20 minutes into this. Time sure flew, that's for sure. As I said, this has really been, I put this out as a Q&A session, and I thank everybody very much for the questions here, but I hope you don't mind that it seems to have become more of a conversation than an actual question and answer session, because that's just how it is. I find myself just rambling on and on here, and I can only hope that it's entertaining. Hog Wild, I have a couple of handmade leather handle covers. I find someone local and they will make you one, and even start producing them. Well, that would be good too. Yes, I have one from Marquette, and it's beautiful. All right, and definitely congratulations on that. But I think we're getting to that time anyway. Largely because last week, the night before Thanksgiving, I was here live for over 2 hours, and I'm not sure if I'm over that yet. So besides, I've been talking and talking now for like the last hour and 20 minutes, and I'm thinking that it may be indeed time to wrap it up. It's educational. Well, I hope it's educational. That's for sure. Yeah. Field, it came out with a chef skillet now. Oh yeah, that actually sounds interesting. All this information. Well, thank you again, Val's Black Cats Rules. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy that. I mean, as I said, I find myself really enjoying all these live videos, which is why I do them so often. And as I've said enough times as well, having you folks here on these live videos is also what makes these things special. Going live and having nobody watch, I know that's not the greatest feeling. And that's happened to me when I've gone live on TikTok as well. I've pretty much given up on TikTok. I still I still browse it regularly, but my participation in TikTok has really gone down. Here, on the other hand, on YouTube, well, this is still my home, and I hope this is my home for a long time to come. So, and yeah, thank you as well to Tessa M. Reed. Well, thank you very much for coming in and letting me waste my time with you. So, thank you. And Hog Wild Cast Iron Restoration. If you do Thursdays, I guess I'll have to do Friday when I get started. Yes. Tomorrow is Thursday. I know a lot of times. Louis J does his live, not every week, but a lot of times. Tomorrow night is also Krampusnacht. The night before the feast of Saint Nicholas, and which of course is this is the night of Krampus. The evil bad side of the Christmas spirit that comes out and punishes the bad little children and all the rest of that. There's been some stuff in the news lately about Krampus and about how some groups don't want people to do Krampus for all kinds of silly reasons, and I'm not going to get into that. But hey, what can I say? It's a piece of history, and for some people, it's like culture and tradition. So enjoy Krampus Nacht tomorrow night. And then Friday is again the Feast of St. Nicholas. And of course, it's also Friday. And I'm hoping I can finally get that fruitcake done, maybe by Friday or so that we can have it ready for Christmas. And leave your boots out. Okay, how can someone send a gift? VL Triple X, I already told you I don't want any more gifts. I am not saying that to insult you, and please don't take that personally. If you want to donate something, please donate it to someone else. Donate it to a friend or to a family. I don't need any more gifts. I'm more than happy to just be here on this YouTube channel and to interact with you folks on these live videos and the videos that I produce. But you don't have to send me any more gifts. But thank you so much. Huey, I go live when I can, but I do think evening on Thursday night might be the slot that works for me. And and best of luck. I'll probably even catch you tomorrow night, I think. And thank you as well to N Coyote 102 and Huggy Bear and William Hurd and Cast Iron Fanatics. And have a good evening to you too as well. And thank you again. We will be getting down to some cooking again next week. And I think, as I just mentioned, I want to get a fruitcake done, but I'm thinking I'm going to go live next week, and I'm going to do my personal fruitcake next week on YouTube Live. That's the instant fruitcake that you can eat right away, and you don't have to ripen it in the fridge. Because that is a fruitcake that I'm also proud of. It's a fruitcake that I made especially for people who don't like fruitcake, and that's why I call it magical fruitcake. And that's what I'm thinking that we're probably spiral potatoes. I know. Maybe I'll mix some spiral potatoes in with it. Who knows? And yes, but that's probably what we're going to be doing next week. So I can only thank everybody though who's been kind enough here to show up here on my live video and video tonight. And what can I say is that we'll be doing it all again next week. So once again, though, thank you everybody who's been kind enough to stop by. You folks really make this special for me, and I can only thank you again for being here. And we will once again be doing this all next week. So until then, as I like to say from 2001: A Space Odyssey, see you next Wednesday.